I'm really very grateful to the head Department of Sanskrit, Dr. Kamal Kishore Misra ji, for giving me this opportunity to share, some thoughts in between you. I am a student of Pali, and I would like to discuss the manuscripts or the text available in Pali. In India, most of the time, is it okay if I speak in English? If you are not actually আমার বাংলা ভালো না, আমার বাংলা ভীষণ বাজে বাংলা, আমি বাংলা বলতে পারি কিন্তু খোটা বাংলা. So either I will mix Bangla and English or Bangla and Hindi, or I could speak in English. Though my slide is in English and in a very simple language, you could understand it. Otherwise, আমি বাংলা মধ্যে বলতে পারি. Because the purpose of language is to share our thought. Purpose of any language is to share our thought. Purpose of language is not to show the scholarship. So if I am not reachable to you, then what is the meaning of my thought? What is the meaning of my language skill, etc.? So please be comfortable with the language. If you have any problem with language, I mean English, then I could shift to Bangla and Bhanga Bangla and Hindi or English. Okay. So let us see. The thing is that in most of the time when we are discussing about manuscriptology in India, we mostly focused on Sanskrit manuscriptology, Sanskrit text or manuscripts, Prakrit manuscripts, in some extent the manuscripts preserved in Farsi or Arabic, or in some extent in Urdu. We never thought about a manuscript preserved in Pali or Gandhari or Kharoshthi or Bhakchuki Lipi, like that. Almost in the Department of Indology, I mean if you concentrate in the Department of Sanskrit, we always focused on Brahminical Sanskrit literature. Sanskrit as a language is used not only by the Brahminical school of thought. আমি যে জিনিসটা বলতে চাই যে আমাদের যে সংস্কৃত ভাষা আছে, এখানে আমাদের যে সময় আপনি ডিপার্টমেন্টে যদি সংস্কৃত এমএ করছেন, আপনি কি বই পড়ছেন? Most of the books are from the Brahminical background. I don't know any of you have read any Buddhist Sanskrit text. আপনাদের কেউ সংস্কৃত মধ্যে জাতক পড়েছে, জাতক মালা পড়েছে? কেউ বুদ্ধিস্ট অবদান লিটারেচার পড়েছে? কেউ অভিধর্ম কোর্স পড়েছে? না. Answer is no. So what happened that in our Indian education system, our departments are also classified in the nature of religion, like Sanskrit meaning Brahminical literature, Hindu literature, Pali meaning Buddhist literature, Urdu means Muslim literature, Hindi means something like that. But even in Urdu literature, you will find a lot of Hindi literature. In earlier days, when the great Hindi writer Prem Chand, he wrote in Urdu. Most of the famous Hindi writer, most of the time they wrote in Urdu. But in Urdu department, if you go, hardly you will find any person, one who is not a Muslim. Am I true or not? আপনি আমাদের ক্যালকাটা ইউনিভার্সিটি উর্দু ডিপার্টমেন্ট যেখানে আছে, আমি জানি না ওইখানে কেউ নন মুসলিম উর্দু পড়ে। সংস্কৃত মধ্যে তো আপনি মুসলিম পাবেন, একটু একটু এসে যাবে, একটা দুটা ঢুকতে পারে, কিন্তু আরবি ডিপার্টমেন্ট মধ্যে আপনি একটা বি হিন্দু পাবেন না। সো উই ক্লাসিফাইড দ্য ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ উইথ রিলিজন, দ্যাট ইজ দ্য প্রবলেম। And especially we classified the Sanskrit with a particular religion, Brahmanism or Hinduism. Hinduism is a very modern term, the term is Brahmanism. And that is the problem. In the manuscriptology also, I mean in the study of manuscriptology also, আপনি এখানে বড় বড় manuscript centers আছে। For example, we have Asiatic Society. আমাদের ক্যালকাটা ইউনিভার্সিটি ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্ট সেন্টার আছে। Ratna Basu was heading that center and we have, I think, good number of manuscript. আমি জানি না ওইখানে কে তো নন সংস্কৃত ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্টস আছে, আর যদি আছে তারপরে ওনার অবস্থা কি আছে, হোয়াট ইজ দ্য সিচুয়েশন অফ দ্যাট নন সংস্কৃত ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্টস। যদি আপনি প্রাকৃত ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্টস দেখবেন ইন ইন্ডিয়ার মধ্যে যে ট্রেডিশনস আছে, so mostly you will find Jain Prakrit. You will not find out the Buddhist Prakrit manuscripts. Why I am highlighting you this issue is that Sanskrit or Prakrit is not the language of a particular quote unquote religious system or religious thought. Sanskrit is not the language of only the Brahminical school of philosophy or Brahminical school of thought. Sanskrit was also used by the Buddhists. Lot of Buddhist texts are available in Sanskrit, but unfortunately none of the Sanskrit department in India, mostly they include Buddhist Sanskrit texts in their syllabus. So major Sanskrit students are unaware about the Buddhist Sanskrit text. And why that is very important, because that will also gives you lot of opportunity, because those Buddhist Sanskrit texts were translated into Tibetan, were translated into Chinese and many more languages. So once you know the Buddhist Sanskrit text, you will get opportunity in Tibetan studies, in Chinese studies, in Japanese studies, in Korean studies. So these branches of studies will also open to you. So let's see why I am talking about, I am supposed to give you a lecture on the manuscripts condition or manuscriptology in Pali, but giving you some basic idea about the Buddhist Sanskrit. And this is the very simple slide about the what is Pali. Pali nowadays we use in the sense of language. Pali ekta bhasha ache, and there is no particular script to that language. There is no particular script. Like for example, most of you guys are from Sanskrit department. If I ask a questions to you, ki Sanskrit modde Sanskrit jonne script ki ache, particular script ki chilo? This is the wrong answer. Devanagari is a very modern script. Brahmi, but do you have any manuscripts in Brahmi? Sanskrit manuscripts in Brahmi? Do you know? So that is the problem. We don't know exactly. Even if we don't know, okay, just see some funny questions. Most of you guys are Bengali speaking person. How you know that you are a Bengali speaking person? How you know? Because you speak Bengali. How you named your language that this is the Bengali language? How you named it Bengali? আপনি আপনার যে ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ যে নাম যে আপনি দেখছেন বলছেন বাঙালি, আপনি কোথায় থেকে এই বেঙ্গলি টার্ম ইজাদ করেছেন? The geographical land defined the name of the language. So the language spoken by the geographical land of Bengalis is called Bengali. The language used in Punjab is called Punjabi. Language used in Sindh is called Sindhi. Okay, like that. If I ask you, what is the language of Sanskrit? What is the area of Sanskrit? What is the geographical area of Sanskrit? Any language have some specific area. For French, you have France, German, Germany. any language have defined or originated or as named on the basis of their area. But for Sanskrit, very difficult. Anyhow, just try to get the answer. So we don't have manuscript, Brahmi manuscript in Sanskrit. So can you tell me that what is the oldest manuscript do we have in India? What is the oldest manuscript available to us? Anyone? আমাদের কাছে সবচেয়ে পুরনো ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্ট কি আছে? সংস্কৃত মধ্যে কি আছে? কি কোনটা ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্ট আপনি বলতে পারেন? This is the oldest Sanskrit manuscript available to us. Though we claim that the Mahabharatas or Ramayanas were the ancient scriptures, Vedas, Rig Vedas were ancient scriptures composed around 1500 BCE or like that. But what is the condition, what is the availability of those manuscripts of Vedas, Ramayanas, Mahabharatas? We don't have the manuscript of 1500 BCE. The oldest manuscripts available to us is this one. In India, I mean in Indian continent, found in Afghanistan, this is the oldest manuscript till now available to us. This manuscript is called Gandhar scroll or Gandhar manuscript. And the time of this manuscript is around 1st century BCE to CE. Isa Purva 1st century BCE apni bolte paren ki this is the time of these manuscripts. So the Buddhist manuscripts available to us is supposed to be the oldest one. But unfortunately, those manuscripts are not in Pali language. Okay? Those manuscripts are in Gandhari language. You know the place Gandhar. Gandhar is inside of Afghanistan area. That is a place called Gandhar. And this is the oldest manuscript so far available to us from this Indian subcontinent. So, before going to that, let's see in Pali, come to Pali. It is said that the Buddha spoke in Pali. This is the general belief. And the time of the Buddha was 5th, 6th century BCE. And he spoke in Pali. But at that time, when he was living, when he was dwelling, ওই সময় লিপি ছিল না, I mean there was no practice of writing the things. আপনি দেখবেন কি we have the oldest written documents available to us is the Brahmi inscriptions of Ashoka. Understand? That is very well known fact. We have the oldest written inscription available to us, which we have read out, is the Ashokan inscriptions around 3rd century BCE. So before 200 years back to Ashoka, Buddha was lived here, and it is said that he used to deliver his lecture in Pali language. And that time the practice was that they delivered his sermons, his teachings in a spoken form, and their disciples, they remember it. They are not penned down each and every statement. Okay? And subsequently, they recited the Buddha Vachana into different times and occasions. It is said that at the time of 3rd Buddhist Council, which was held at the time of Ashoka at Patliputra, they have recited all the Buddha Vachana, and they decided to send messengers to different corner of the India, that time Jambu Deepa, in order to preserve the Buddha Vachana. And they have sent the Buddha's sermons, Buddha's teachings to Sri Lanka and different parts of the world. So in this way, the Buddhist teaching reached to Sri Lanka, and in Sri Lanka around 1st century BCE, they have written down first time all the Pali Tripitakas. When I say Pali Tripitaka means 40,000 pages. They have written down in one conference held in Sri Lanka at Alu Vihar. The place name is Alu Vihar, a monastery called Alu Vihar. Okay, Alu is not potato, but this is the name in singular. So they have penned down each and everything. But even in India, we have references that the Buddhist teachings or the teachings of the Buddhas are penned down by the Indians. Like the manuscripts which I have shown to you is 1st century BCE manuscript. This one, the Gandhara manuscript, Gandhara scroll, written in India, written in Pakistan, Gandhar, Afghanistan side, and that's why this manuscript is known as Gandhara scroll. And these things happened before the Sri Lankan event. Even in Ashokan inscriptions, you will find lot of evidences where the Buddha's teachings are penned down, noted down in the inscriptions. Like there is inscriptions called Bharhut inscriptions. Bharhut is the name of a place in Rajasthan. And very fortunately, that inscription is available in Calcutta. I don't know how many of you are aware with that inscriptions. That inscriptions available in Asiatic Society. The entire inscription, the whole, the stone is kept in Asiatic Society in the Bharhut inscriptions. And that Bharhut inscription is written inscription, Brahmi script. There the Ashoka has mentioned 7 Buddhist texts that a Upasaka, a lay followers of the Buddha or the monks, they should read this text. In 3rd century BCE, Ashoka referred 7 texts, Buddhist texts you can say, or sutras, that a person should read out. I call it the first prescribed syllabus for the Buddhist. The Ashoka has prescribed a syllabus that a monks, a lay followers should read out. That was the first prescribed syllabus in human history. Anyhow, that is the interesting thing. So in India, you can say, we don't have the written documents in Pali. So first time the Pali Tripitaka was written down in Sri Lanka around 1st century BCE or CE like that at Alu Vihar. But unfortunately, we don't have the Pali manuscript of that era of 1st century BCE. We don't have. The first available manuscript of Pali available to us is this one, the oldest available Pali manuscript. This manuscript is written in, you can read out here, in Kutila script. You might know the Kutila script, early Devanagari script. You can see here some Devanagari sign you can see here. Okay, this is called Kutila script, and the age of this manuscript is 7th-8th century AD, found in Kathmandu, Nepal Darbar. This is the oldest Pali manuscript written in Kutila script. 2-3 good articles were already written down on this article. I will share with you. If you like to read out more about this manuscript, I can share with you. That is not the problem. So the interesting part is that the oldest Pali manuscript available to us is written down in Indian script. Till the discovery of this manuscript, it was thought that the Pali manuscript, oldest Pali manuscripts might be available in Sinhalese script or in Burmese script or in Thai script, like that. Why that happened? The reason is, as I told you, that at the time of King Ashoka, Buddhism went to Sri Lanka. Ashoka started spreading Buddhism. And first time the Pali Tripitaka was written down in Sri Lanka. So the natural question is, in what language, in what script? Must be answer would be Sinhala script. So what was the earliest Sinhala script? How it looks like? It looks like somehow very near to Brahmi script. So you can say early Brahmi script. Later on, most of the Pali inscripts, manuscripts found in Sri Lanka is written in Sinhala script at palm leaves. I will show you some manuscripts also, which I am working. Subsequently, Buddhism also went to other Southeast Asian countries like Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos. These are Theravada Buddhist country. You have to understand two things. Buddhism is divided into two major groups. One is called the Theravada Buddhism and other is called Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism went to China, Tibet, Korea, Japan. The Mahayana Buddhists, their texts are originally written in Sanskrit or mixed Sanskrit that we call Buddhist Sanskrit. That is not classical Sanskrit. I mean that Sanskrit not follow the rules and regulations of Panini grammar. Okay, that is called Buddhist Sanskrit. So most of the Mahayana country, they adopted Mahayana Buddhism with Buddhist Sanskrit text. But what they did while adopting Buddhism, that they have adopted the religion, but they are not ready to adapt the language, the Indian language. So most of the Mahayana country, they translated the Indian languages into their own language. Like when Buddhism reached to China through Sanskrit text, the Chinese people established a translation department and they transmitted the Buddhist Sanskrit text into Chinese. They translated, and this process started around 1st century AD. From the 1st century AD, China started translating non-Chinese text. They only accept Chinese. Like here I am speaking in English. I have no problem. You have also no problem. But most of the Chinese universities, they teach only in Chinese. I studied in China. That's why I am telling you. Even the local in the new vocabularies also, they always transmit into Chinese. Like for example, the Coca-Cola. You will not get Coca-Cola in China. Coca-Cola is available there, but with different name, with Chinese name. Not written like C-O-C-A, C-O-L-A, like that, not like that. In Chinese character, they have given each name a Chinese things. So only Chinese available there. So from 1st century AD, they started transliterating the Buddhist text into Chinese, and they produced huge number of manuscripts. Huge number. Almost all the Indian texts they have translated. আপনার যে পানিনি বাবা আছে ওই চাইনিজ মধ্যে আছে, সবাই জিনিস চাইনিজ মধ্যে আছে. Not from today. Chinese are not copying only today, but they were copying even from 1st century AD BC like that. So each and every text they have in Chinese, but they translated it. We are not going to discuss about those manuscripts. They have a very huge collection, and for reading those manuscripts, one should be very good in Chinese, classical Chinese. Very difficult nowadays to handle Chinese manuscripts. But what happened in Southeast Asian countries, like in Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, the Buddhism reached there, they adapted religion and also the language, Indian language. They don't want to change the Buddha's language. And they accepted the Buddha Vachana in Pali as the sacred language of the Buddhists. And that's why Pali as a language was preserved in Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, etc. But in order to read the Pali language, they have transmitted the text in their own script. Pali is the name of a language. Sanskrit is the name of the language, not a name of the script. Hindi is the name of a bhasa, language. Devanagari is the name of the script. Okay? And Devanagari is used by other languages also. Like Gujarati is also written in Devanagari. But Punjabi is written in Gurumukhi. So we have to be very conscious about the language and script. So the Southeast Asian people, once they started adapting the Indian religion and also the Indian language, in Indian language, they transmitted the text into their own script. Like earlier they transmitted in Sinhalese. From Sri Lanka, most of the part, the Buddhism again reached to Burma, Thailand, etc., Cambodia. After Sinhalese, most of the Pali texts were transmitted in Cambodian script. That is, the name of the script is called Khmer script. Khmer. Later on, Thailand also developed their own script. Before that, the Thai people also adapted Khmer as their script. So later on, Thai people, developed a new script called Thai script, and they have transmitted the same Buddhist text into Thai script. Burma is also like that. They have developed a new script called Burmese, and they transmitted the text into Burmese. So problem with the Pali manuscript is that you will get the Pali manuscript except this one in Kutila script. This is the only folios, 4 folios of the Vinaya Pitaka. All the manuscripts are either in Sinhalese or Burmese or Thai or Khmer or in Laos, like that. So the problem in Pali manuscript editing is that one should be very, well trained in these manuscripts. So the same texts you will find written in different scripts. So in order to edit the Pali manuscripts, you have to be very well trained. Otherwise you will lost. This is the basic problem. What sort of text you will find in Pali manuscripts? Now discuss to the other thing that कि আপনাদের Pali manuscript মধ্যে কি text পাওয়া যায়। আমি যে বলছি কি the Pali language is mostly used by the Buddha and we call it the canonical language. The Pali Tripitaka je ache, of course all the Pali Tripitaka is available in manuscript form. In Sinhalese, in Burmese, they have the entire Pali Tripitaka. That is supposed to be composed or taught by the Buddha around 5th, 6th century BCE. But after that, in Pali, you will find lot of literature, lot of different branches of literature. আপনাদের সংস্কৃত মধ্যে যেরকম ব্যাকরণ সাহিত্য আছে, পালি মধ্যে भी ব্যাকরণ সাহিত্য আছে. And interesting part is that most of the Vyakaran Sahitya of Pali is influenced by the Sanskrit Vyakaran. আপনাদের যেরকম নীতি সাহিত্য আছে, নীতি জানেন তো, পালি মধ্যে भी নীতি সাহিত্য আছে, written in Pali language. Might be in Burmese script or Sinhalese script, like that, but almost translated from the Sanskrit niti. So you will find a direct influence of Sanskrit on Pali, because they have already available material in Sanskrit, so they just slightly changed the language and adapted it in Pali. For example, a person one who is speaking Bangla, something Bangla মধ্যে কিছু লেখা আছে, আর ওই জিনিসটা আপনি উড়িয়া মধ্যে করতে চান, that's not very difficult. আপনি বাংলা থেকে উড়িয়া করতে পারেন, বাংলা থেকে আসমিজ भी আপনি করতে পারেন, because these are the sister languages. So similarly, Pali is a sister language of Sanskrit, Middle Indo-Aryan language. So the Pali, Sahityakaras, they adapted Sanskrit while writing non-canonical literature. I mean, while writing the grammar, the Chand Sastra, the Alankar Sastra, the Niti Sastra, even the medical treatises, they have adapted Sanskrit language and they transmitted directly from Sanskrit language to Pali language, but in different script. So this is the problem with the Pali studies, that nowadays Pali is mostly understood as a language of Theravadi or the Buddhist branch of school, or Buddhist thought of Indian philosophy, and most of the Indic studies in India, like Sanskrit, Prakrit, they ignore it. They don't want to assimilate Pali studies also. Like we have many departments here in like, for example, I am giving you one name, like in Viswabharati University. The name of the department is Sanskrit, Pali and Prakrit. But hardly they teach Pali. No Pali. Only the name is there. They don't bother. Because the Sanskrit student, they don't know the scope. And the teachers also, they are not trained to do like that, to do the job. And that is why most of the time our Indic studies is associated with particular religion. So that is the biggest problem. Anyhow, now come to, because I have only 30 minutes more to speak, and I am my problem is that whatever I have written down here in the slide, and I am sharing you something else. I don't want to read out whatever I have written down here. That's why. Okay. Come to the present status of Pali manuscript. This Pali studies mostly began around the late 17th century or early 18th century, when the Britishers started colonize Indian subcontinent. And the French, they colonized Cambodia. The Britishers, they colonized India and Sri Lanka. Those Britishers or French, they were very smart guys, very smart people. Even their administrative peoples were very smart. Once they start colonizing, जब वो शासन करने लगे हम लोगों पे, so they also wanted to know our text and rituals. So they started reading the text. Like for example, আমাদের Sanskrit college established হয়েছে, আমাদের Calcutta University established হয়েছে. What was the purpose of the university establishment? আমাদের তো Gurukul system ছিল. Why they established this modern education system? In order to know the text, the rituals which we did that time, in order to understand our heritage. And subsequently, they started reading Sanskrit, Pali, etc. So in Sri Lanka, what happened? There was one ICS officer from Britain. His name was Thomas William Rhys Davids. He was like today's IS. He was IS of that time. And he was posted in Sri Lanka, very young guy, a smart guy. And he had a background of philosophy. So he was a district magistrate and he faced one case. So while he was dealing with a case, he saw some proof written in Pali language. But he could not understand it. বুঝতে পারছে না কি লেখা আছে in Sinhalese script. He knows Sinhalese also, but he could not understand the language. So he asked local people, what is the language? They said Pali. So he said that, okay, just first teach me, then I will give you the judgment. Unless I don't know what is written down, how I will give you the judgment? That was a case of a land dispute. Ekta land dispute case chilo. So the DM asking, just give me the documents of this land dispute and teach me this, what is the problem here. Subsequently, he started reading Pali. And he was so interested for Pali that he resigned from his job and he went back to London, and there he established one society called Pali Text Society. And together with him, he brought many manuscripts from Sri Lanka. Those ICS officers at the colonial time, they started, collecting manuscripts from different parts of the India, Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, and they carried out back to their own country, homeland, and they deposited there. আপনার পালি ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্ট যে আছে আপনি বর্মা মধ্যে পাবেন না, শ্রীলঙ্কা মধ্যে পাবেন না, কিন্তু আপনি ফ্রান্স মধ্যে পাবেন, লন্ডন মধ্যে পাবেন, জার্মানি মধ্যে পাবেন। আমাদের এশিয়াটিক সোসাইটির মধ্যে যে কিছু ম্যানুস্ক্রিপ্ট জমা আছে, that were donated by those Britishers. I have noted down something here, I will show you right now. So in this way, Pali studies basically began in London. That society, Pali Text Society. You can Google it. That is the Makkah of Pali studies. And you will not believe that even that society has no building, a private firm, and they have, published hundred of texts. They have revived Pali studies first time. What they did, they carried some manuscripts from Sri Lanka, Burma to London, and they started transliterating those manuscripts into Roman later, into Roman. You know that we could write Sanskrit or Pali in Roman script also. So they transliterated it in Roman and start publications. In this way, we came across many Pali Buddhist texts. So till today in India, we use as an authentic book published from London, Pali Text Society, not from India. We Indians, sorry to say, most of the time we only interested to copy those texts. What we did that, those Britishers, they have edited the manuscript, spent their whole life to edit a single text, and we just changed the font from Roman to Devanagari, Roman to Bangla, Roman to whatever, and we published it, and we put our name as the editor. That is not the editing. Editing of the text of a manuscript is not that you have only changed the font of a published text. One must bear in mind. But most of the Pali studies in India happens like that. We have rarely, I don't know any Indian scholar, one who went through proper editing process of a Pali manuscript. Most of the Pali texts available in Bangla script or in Devanagari scripts are generally transliteration from Roman to Devanagari or Bangla or whatever. This is not the editing of the text. Similarly, some persons, the colonial officers posted in Cambodia, they brought Cambodian manuscript to France. And in France, we have a huge collection of the manuscript. Unfortunately, we don't have a very good collection of Pali manuscripts in India. Some manuscripts you will get in Asiatic Society. And this is the slide I have just noted down from the Proceeding of the Asiatic Society, published by P.T. Nair in 4-5 volumes. And I have just noted down here that in the collection of Asiatic Society Museum, there exists a considerable collection of Pali manuscript, altogether 162 Burmese manuscript written on palm leaf. These Burmese manuscript, these Burmese Buddhist texts are from Arakan, from Burma, and also from some part of Arunachal Pradesh. In Arunachal Pradesh, in our India, near to Burma border, there is a community called Khamtai community. And they adopted Burmese as their script, and they have their texts in Khamtai script. So some of the British officers, they collected those texts and put it in the Asiatic Society record. But till now, unfortunately, those manuscripts are not catalogized. We don't know that, we don't have the catalog of those manuscripts. What sort of texts are there? What sort of nature of the text? We don't know anything about those things. So this is the present status of Pali studies, Pali manuscript in our Asiatic society. Like for example, we have the manuscript of some texts like Bazir Buddhi Tika, Vesentar Jatak, and Jatak Patthana, etc. In the Asiatic Society collection. But these are very popular texts and also already edited, published in Roman, in Devanagari also. And I don't think so these are very oldest manuscripts. So the collection of the Asiatic Society is not very good one. Might be they have some rare Pali manuscripts, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, I don't find the Asiatic collection is a very rich collection, with the Pali subject or Pali literature. So this is the situation in our India. Apart from Asiatic Society Pali collection, Pali manuscript collection, we have some manuscripts in very few, very rare manuscripts in Pune, some manuscripts in Kerala. What happened with the Indian scholars that like some of the Indian scholars, in our Indic study, especially Buddhist studies, you might be know the name of Rahul Sankrityayan. Have you heard the name Rahul Sankrityayan? Any of you? No? Oh my God. You must read something extra from Sanskrit and from Bengal and from Rabindranath Tagore. There are a lot of things. This Rahul Sankrityayan was from UP, and he was a great traveler. He was a great traveler. And it is said that he went to Tibet 5 times, and he carried out thousands of manuscripts from Tibet to India, and he deposited those manuscripts at Patna KP Jaswal Research Institute. So in this way, we don't have any scholars, those who could bring out manuscript from Burma or from Sri Lanka or from Thailand to India. Like for example, you might be very surprised to know that the Pali department first time in a modern education system as a department established in Calcutta. The Pali department of Calcutta University is the oldest department, and the first time Pali studies began in Calcutta University. Only before that, in Rangoon, there was a school called Rangoon School. Now that is the university, Rangoon University. First time a professor was appointed in Rangoon School. That is very amazing thing, that a professor was appointed in a +10 school from Switzerland, and he was the first person who was appointed as a professor of Pali. Later on, due to the demand of the Buddhist followers, Pali was established in the university system under the Rangoon College first, undergraduate college, and then in Calcutta University. And from 1907, the Pali studies began in Calcutta University formally, and a professor from Maharashtra, D.D. Kosambi, was appointed as a first lecturer of Pali at Calcutta University. But unfortunately, till this huge tradition of Pali studies in Calcutta, you will find very rare manuscripts of Pali in Calcutta. Though the Calcutta University produced number of great scholars, very famous scholars, but as far as the manuscriptology is concerned, Pali manuscripts are concerned, you will find very rare the work. Like in our department in the university also, many students that did PhD in Pali, but I don't know any of the students they edit a Pali text, because there is no tradition of editing the Pali text. Like for example, you guys, Sanskrit guys also, you are doing PhD or MPhil in Sanskrit. But most of them, you don't bother to edit a text, to edit a rare text. There are thousands of, Buddhist Sanskrit texts available, or the Brahminical Sanskrit text available. But we don't bother to pick a manuscript and edit it. Very simple work, but that is the problem. So in Calcutta University, I find very rarely, the editing work. I just went through 1 or 2 theses deposited in Calcutta University, was on the editing of some Pali text. Like as I remember right now, there is a text called from Thailand. There is a text called on Vansa literature. I forget the name just right now. Sorry. That was edited by one Thai monk. Thai manuscript under the guideship of Ankur Chandra Banerjee. He edited that text. Apart from that, I never find any editing work of original manuscript to Roman or Devanagari or Bengali script. So the Pali editing process or editing of the text is a very rare subject in our field, and I request to the Sanskrit department, to the student of Sanskrit, to also read Buddhist Sanskrit text, because reading Buddhist Sanskrit text for you guys, for the Sanskrit guys, is very easy, because you know the Sanskrit grammar. Only you have to know the content, and once you know the content, you can very easily grasp the language. Try to read Buddhist Sanskrit text, and once you start reading Buddhist Sanskrit text, you will get a lot of opportunity outside India. Now I will show you some of the work which I did. I have edited some of the text. These are the rare texts not available till now in India, and this first text I have edited, Lok Niti. I did my PhD on Pali Niti literature when I was in Pune. I did in Pune PhD, and this Pali Niti literature is almost the work, or you can say, of Indian thought, and this whole corpus of Pali Niti literature developed in Myanmar. এই সম্পূর্ণ জিনিসটা যে আছে, যে পালি নীতি লিটারেচার যে আছে, মিয়ানমার মধ্যে ডেভেলপ হয়েছে after 14th century onwards. You will not get this Pali Niti literature in Sri Lanka. You will not get this Pali Niti literature in Burma. This is the very unique literature of Myanmar. Why Myanmar adapted or developed this literature? Because this Myanmar had or has a direct land connection with India. Like from Assam you can go to Myanmar. From Arunachal you go to the Myanmar. From Bengal you go to the Myanmar. Very easy connection. So the Indian thought, the Brahminical thought, transmitted to Myanmar very easily. And in Pali literature is basically a religious literature. You will not find out in Pali Tripitaka the discourses related to our daily life. Like আপনি সংস্কৃত মধ্যে, সংস্কৃত সাহিত্যের মধ্যে আপনি কাম শাস্ত্র পাবেন, সবাই শাস্ত্র পাবেন, কিন্তু in Pali you don't have that type of literature. We don't have erotic literature. We don't have a story literature as such. But in Sanskrit যেরকম আপনার কালিদাস মেঘদূতম আছে, আপনি পালি মধ্যে এইরকম erotic literature আপনি পাবেন না, because the purpose of Pali language and literature is only to get liberation, is get nirvana. So whatever the literature they have developed, even the grammar they have developed, is only to attain nirvana. মোক্ষ জন্যে যতগুলো ওনার লিটারেচার আছে, সবাই একটাই উদ্দেশ্য আছে কি আপনি পালি যে ক্যানন আছে, যে ত্রিপিটক আছে, ওইটা আপনি ভালো করে পড়তে পারেন আর আপনার মোক্ষ প্রাপ্তি হবে, নির্বাণ প্রাপ্তি হবে, এইটা মেন উদ্দেশ্য ছিল। সেই জন্যে দ্য Palikaras or the writer of the Pali, they don't bother to write something else. Around 14th century in Burma, they thought that it is very difficult to teach the lay persons. যে লে পারসন আছে ওনাকে আপনি লে লাইফ, হাজব্যান্ড ওয়াইফ কীরকম থাকবে, বাচ্চা যদি পড়ছে তারপরে কীরকম শিক্ষা পাবে, শিক্ষা কী মহৎ আছে, they don't have anything like that. So in order to teach the day-to-day life instructions, they have developed this text. First, this Lok Niti. This text was written by a person called Chaturanga Bala in order to teach the kings in palace. And then you will see one Chanakya Niti. আপনাদের যে চাণক্য নীতি আছে, the same this text is Chanakya Niti. As it is, this Chanakya Niti 110 verses are translated into Pali. So I have added the first their name Pali Chanakya Niti. I don't have my computer here, otherwise I will show you the text that how the Sanskrit traditions transmitted to Burma. And I have edited this text, frankly speaking, like this Lokaniti I have edited with some manuscript and with some published digitations, published Roman work, not directly with the manuscript. Now come to other text I am showing you. This text is called Sangitiya Vansa. As I told you that at the time of Asoka there was a meeting, council was held. In Buddhist tradition, we believe that after the death of the Buddha, many councils were held in India. And after that also, the councils were held in Sri Lanka or in Thailand also. So this text was recently written around 1800, and this text mostly discuss about the Buddhist council. The manuscript of this text is available in Thai. So I have edited this text from the Thai sources, Thai script, and published in Roman first time. And the current work which I am doing here is like these are the Burmese origin Pali text. For example, as I told you that most of the Pali texts are concerned with the nirvana, but there are some texts related with cosmology also. आपने cosmology बुझें तो ब्रह्मांड साहित्य, I call it Brahmandiya Sahitya, cosmological literature. This text is called Chanda Surya Gati Deepani. যে এরকম চাঁদ এন্ড সূর্য যে মুভ করছে, পৃথিবী মুভ করছে, কি এফেক্ট হচ্ছে, ওই নিয়ে এই গ্রন্থ লেখা আছে around 14th century AD. And this is the manuscript. This manuscript is only 20 folios or 23 folios, very small manuscript, a small text, written by supposed to be a Bengali scholar from Murshidabad. This is my assumption. This Murshidabadi person, he went to Burma, he was a Brahmin and he was a chaplain in a court. In Buddhist country, one interesting thing is that though the kings and the publics are Buddhist, but the chaplain যে রাজা মধ্যে রাজাগার মধ্যে যে মেইন যে মিনিস্টার ছিল আর যে মানুষ ছিল, they are Brahmins and they follow the Brahminical rituals. So this guy from Murshidabad, he went to Burma and he was very close to the kingdom, and in order to find the right time, আমাদের যে বলে না গ্রহ নক্ষত্র, right time, he wrote this text, Chanda Surya Gati Deepani. There are many texts like that, and he quoted in this text. I have edited this text in Devanagari and Roman also. He quoted some Indian text of cosmology, which I don't know exactly which text he is quoting, and till now this text is not available, but this is the current work I am doing. I am just showing you, my purpose is here to bring some light in front of you about the manuscriptology, manuscripts available in Pali, and this is one of the manuscripts. Similarly, there is a very beautiful manuscript. You see the first one, very beautiful, crafted, from Sri Lanka, written in single language, single script. Language is Pali, and this is the in verse, very big manuscript. I got this manuscript from America, from Arizona University. This manuscript is not available in Sri Lanka, and I have edited this text. Work is in process. The name of the text is also very good, Sadhu Charitodaya. In Pali literature, if someone is here from Pali background, they might be say that do you know the name, have you heard this name Sadhu Charitodaya? I don't know. Very few people went through this work. This is the first time I am editing this text, and this text is also, you will not get the manuscript even in Sri Lanka. One manuscript I found from Arizona, and this text was written around 1400 in Sri Lanka, in very big text, having more than 1430 or 50 verses. So very interesting work. So now I have only 6 minutes, so come to the conclusion. Challenges to edit Pali manuscript. You can read here, I am just saying something else. The first challenge I found is the availability of the manuscript. We Indian scholars, Indian students of Pali, we don't know from where we get the manuscript. I mean, in our higher education, there is a very big vacuum, and that is the knowledge. We don't know the, where we have to go. I mean, we don't know the text or the branch which are still untouched. Always while doing PhD, we rush to our Guruji. Guruji, please guide us some topic, give us some topic, and we start working on that. যদি আপনি গুরুজি সঙ্গে জানে যদি আপনি কাজ করবেন, তারপরে তো গুরুজি কাজ হয়ে যাবে, আপনার কাজ হবে না। You can't contribute to the knowledge. So you should know the vacuum of the knowledge. কোথায় জায়গা খালি আছে, কীরকম আপনি জানবেন। তো পালি স্টাডিজ মধ্যে যে সবচেয়ে বড় যে জিনিসটা আছে, we don't know the vacuum of the knowledge. And why that is? Because we don't know the process for doing higher education. For example, you guys are from Sanskrit, so how many of you guys know 5 catalogs of Sanskrit? How many of you have seen 5 catalogs of Sanskrit? Very few. We don't know about the catalog. What is catalog? I think these are the very basic thing. One we have to teach from the beginning, from the master degree course, that these are the catalog. Go through the catalog. You will find many texts which are not noticed even in the history of Sanskrit literature. আপনি ক্যাটালগ যদি সংস্কৃত ক্যাটালগ দেখবেন, যে ক্যাটালগ সংস্কৃত জন্য আছে, ওখানে প্রচুর টেক্সট পাবেন which are unnoticed in the history of Sanskrit literature. Similarly, in Pali studies, our students, even our teachers, they don't know the catalogs of the Pali. We have many catalogs published from different libraries of the world, and they have cataloged the manuscripts. So once you go to the catalog, you will see that, okay, this text we can work. Second thing in Pali studies is that we don't have the training of scripts. আমাদের স্ক্রিপ্টোলজি ক্লাসে এখানে এসে আমাদের ব্রাহ্মী শিখছি, খরষ্টি শিখছি, এইরকম করছি। আমাদের বিএ এমএ কি করেছি? কিছু না। হোয়াট এভার উই ডিড ইন এমএ 2 years is hardly 6 month program, and we spent 2 years. যদি 5 বছর আপনি একটা সাবজেক্টে আপনি দেবেন, কিন্তু আপনি ওই সাবজেক্ট নিয়ে কিছু জানেন না, আমাদের যে এন্টায়ার সিলেবাস আছে is so haphazard that finally after completing our course we don't know. So in Pali studies, the basic problem is that we don't teach our student the scripts of like Sinhalese, Burmese, Thai, Laos. No. If you do your master degree program or PhD program in the West, একটা বাহারে যদি ইউনিভার্সিটি গিয়ে করবেন, ওইখানে ফার্স্ট বলবে আপনি সংস্কৃত পড়ার জন্য এসেছেন, হ্যাঁ, বলে ঠিক আছে, আপনি চাইনিজ পড়ুন, আপনি জার্মান পড়ুন। সংস্কৃত স্টুডেন্টকে বলবে কি আপনি জার্মান পড়ুন। জার্মান পড়ে কী লাভ হবে সংস্কৃত নিয়ে? বলবে জার্মান মধ্যে যে রিসার্চ হয়েছে ওইটা আপনি জানতে পারবেন, আপনার কাজ হবে। If you want to do very serious work in Sanskrit, you must learn German. At least কি আপনি জার্মানটা বুঝতে পারেন, কাজ করতে পারেন। I am not saying that you start speaking in German, but আপনি টেক্সটটা দেখতে পারেন। So Pali studies में जो 8 problem আছে, we are not interconnected, we don't bother about the script like Sinhalese, Burmese, Thai. Third problem is that while Pali studies, we are not very much focused on the grammar, and we are not focused, interested to learn Sanskrit language. We are very much bifurcated. Okay, like religious background niye bifurcated ache. And the last I think I have to say is that we have to open our eyes and we have to see worldwide that কি কাজ হচ্ছে পুরো দুনিয়ার মধ্যে। সংস্কৃত যদি আপনি এখানে ক্যালকাটা ইউনিভার্সিটি সংস্কৃত পড়ছেন, গটিংহাম ইউনিভার্সিটির মধ্যে भी সংস্কৃত ডিপার্টমেন্ট আছে, ইন্ডিক স্টাডিজ ডিপার্টমেন্ট আছে, ওইখানে সংস্কৃত নিয়ে মানুষ কি কাজ করছে ওইটা আপনাকে জানতে হবে, দেখতে হবে। মার্বুর্গ ইউনিভার্সিটি সংস্কৃত আছে, ওখানে কি কাজ করছে। আমি বুদ্ধিস্ট সংস্কৃত নিয়ে এত প্রচুর আমার কাছে গ্রন্থ আছে, which is not available even in India. Like there is a text, Niti text called Vyasakara. Vyasakara also available in Sanskrit in India, but there is a Vyasakara, a Niti text written in Sri Lanka, and that is in Sanskrit. Many Sanskrit texts composed in Sri Lanka. So with these words, I think my time is over now, so I have to stop here, sir. And thank you all for listening me, hearing me. So I am very thankful to Professor Kamal Kishore Mishra ji for giving me this opportunity. See, this is the oldest manuscript available to us, Indian manuscripts. Okay. এখানে চলে যাচ্ছে যদি বড় করছি তো this is called Gandhar scroll. There is also one manuscript called Gilgit manuscript, written around 4th-5th century AD, also published in the text, but this one is the oldest one. Okay, thank you all to listening me, and thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. So nice of you. Thank you.